Hello and welcome back to Black Dice Gaming. I'm James and today we're going to be doing another painting video. This time we're going to be painting up this little guy. So it's my Slann on his throne. I've made some effort on the throne so far. There's bits happening. That's about as far as I've got with it. But yeah, we're going to be painting him up and make sure that he's at least finished today. Okay, so why don't you sit back, get yourself a cup of tea, maybe some chocolate biscuits. Let's get on with the painting. So without further ado, let's get some paint on this model. The first colour we'll be using is Plaguebearer's Flesh, and we are literally painting all the skin. So for those of you that can't guess, I am definitely going with a green Slann. I've seen them in other colours. They're pretty much like an orange one that I saw painted up. I did debate whether or not to go with orange, but my Raptidon riders I've just painted up, and I've done them in a green colour scheme, and I quite like it. So this is to go with them really. Okay, so we're just trying to get it on the skin and nowhere else if we can help it, but we're not too worried because this is such a light colour that most things are going to cover it without too much of an issue. Okay. So this is going to be the first colour, and like I say, we'll get this all over the Slann, and we'll be back with the next bit. So while we're waiting for the Plaguebearer Flesh to completely dry, we're going to do his feathers, and we're going to do them in Pterodon Turquoise. It's a really nice greeny blue colour. I think I do most of my feathers in this sort of colour. So it looks something like that. Okay. So I'll crack on, finish the feathers, and I'll be back in a few. So with the feathers drying, we'll move on to the next colour. And I'm going to be using Druchii Violets on this little orb thing in his hand here. So just going to colour it so it's all coloured in. We've got these sort of electric looking spikes coming off it as well. And just take your time. You don't want to get any on the green if you can, because it will be devastating to fix. Now, the reason I've used the shade here is because you can see it's just completely filled it in and given it that tint of colour, sorry. Okay, so I'll continue, get the rest done, and we'll be back in a few. So this next stage, well, you can see what we did there with the orb, making it look all magical and stuff. The next stage, because the skin's now dry, we're going to sort of darken things down. So the way we're going to do that is with Militarum Green, and we are just going to work on the back part of the model. So let's start with his head. And then we'll look where we're going to do the join line. Okay. Now most of it's back you're not actually going to see. So, top of his head you will. Because when he sits on his throne, he's going to sit like this. and is right up against the back here, so you're not going to see a lot of it anyway. But where it joins, what we're going to do, so we're going to bring it down underneath the arm here, like so. Just feather that out. And then before it dries, we're going to wash our brush, come back with a clean brush, and then just sort of feather it in, like so. Like this. Okay, so we've got that clear sort of distinction between the belly with the lighter colour and the back part here. Okay, right, and then we'll do exactly the same at the other side when we get around there. Okay, so that's how we're going to accomplish this. So with the Militarum green done as well, it's time to move on. We're going to give it a good old over wash, and we're going to be using Croak green, and we're going to just go all over all the skin, letting it sort of settle in all the recesses. Just to tie the two colours in even closer together, really. Going to make all the details stand out a lot more as well. Again, try not to get it anywhere that we don't want it. We are just trying to focus on the skin here. And don't let it pull up too much also. So I'll carry on, get the rest of this done, and we'll be back once she's dry. So moving on, we're going to do the staff now, and that we're going to paint contrast Black Legion. And basically what we're just going to do here is the handle in the Black Legion. Okay, so up to there. It doesn't matter about getting any of the Black Legion on the gold areas. In most cases, gold actually looks better with a darker undercoat. But certainly don't try and get it on the skin, which is looking pretty good now. You could also do his claws at the same time using the Black Legion. We're going to do his fingernails and his talons as well. Just be exceptionally careful when doing the ones on his feet, as because they're very close to the body, and we certainly don't want to be getting any of the Black Legion on his body now. Especially on the other side, they're sort of right up against the skin, aren't they? Okay, so I'm going to crack on and get the rest of it done. The fingernails, the talons, and the handle of the weapon. Okay, be back in a few. Okay, so here we are. I did these cheek discs as well, I forgot to mention. I did those in the black that we had out then. So we're going to do the inside of his mouth and his lip. And we're going to be using Blood Angel's Red. And just going to get it inside the mouth and along that lip line just there. Obviously being exceptionally careful here. We really don't want to get this on the green. Okay, so we look something like that. Okay, so moving on, we shall be doing the gold, and as always, it's Retributor armor. Now, there's lots of gold on the model. Pretty much the only thing we're going to be left with here is the rest of his necklace. Once we've got the gold in, everything's going to be base coated at least. So we'll start off with the simple parts on his staff. All of this is gold. I've just decided, just as I'm looking at it now, that ball in the center is probably going to be purple. So I'm going to leave the ball in the center, and I'll be getting my Druchii Violet back out, and we'll do that ball there in the nice Druchii Violet. Okay, so there's lots to do in gold. I'm going to crack on, and we'll be back with the next step. So with the gold looking all glittery and sparkly and lovely and nice, we're going to go over it with Agrax Earthshade. It's a good old Agrax Earthshade. So this is going to do a lot of the work for us, as it always does, creating lots more interest in the gold areas that we've painted, and defining all the lines, all the edges that sometimes get blurred with just that block paint on there. Then to fill in all those little intricate parts like so. Okay, so I'm going to crack on, get the rest of this gold covered. If you do happen to get it too much on your brush, just like there, just take it somewhere else, unload it, come back and pick it up, just like so. Okay, I'll be back when that's done. Okay, so with the Agrax Earthshade sort of drying there, we're going to use some Evil Sun Scarlet, and we're going to highlight the bottom lip, and we're going to colour the gemstone just up here. Okay, so I'll start with the gemstone. So we're just going to block the whole thing in the one colour to start with. Just like so. And then we're going to sort of get a small amount on our brush. And then we're just going to sort of draw little lines along the lip. better to start off slowly and build this up. Rather than just go all hog straight away. And there we go. Okay, and while we wait for that to dry, we're going to use some Uriel yellow in the eye sockets. His eyes are pretty big. So again, just tiny amount on your brush and just gently work it on like so. There we go. Okay, right, so we're going to be waiting for those to dry. We'll be back in the next. So here we go, the finished article. I blacked in the eyes off camera, and I just highlighted the lips in Wild Rider Red, and I forgot to paint the necklace. I did that in Pterodon Turquoise as well as the feathers. But there she is, or he, or whatever. I always drop them, God. But yeah, there we go. It's looking pretty good. Let's bring his throne in. I haven't done any more work on it really. So there we go. He's going to sit there. See, you hardly see any of his back anyway. So a lot of what we did on his back is probably not going to ever be seen. And it's such a shame. He's got a lovely shelf behind him with all sorts of trinkets on. But again, it's barely noticeable. I don't even think you can make it out at that sort of angle. You can see the stuff on it. But yeah, so I'm not doing the his seat, whatever it's called, on camera. There's just too much going on, and I miss bits and I have to go back and go back around again, and so I won't be doing that on camera. But I'll show you the full article once it's done. It might not be for a while, but at some point I'll certainly do that. But anyway, if you've enjoyed and you want to see more of my work, or if you've learned anything and you want to stick around for more hints, tips and suggestions or whatever, then please do feel free to subscribe. I'd love it if you could like as well, and that really helps the algorithm. As I've now surpassed 1,000 subscribers. If you've stuck around till the end of the video, then I'd like to thank each and every one of you individually. But unfortunately I can't, so you'd have to just accept it in this message form. I really appreciate it. I've come a long way, and it's all thanks to every one of you subscribing and pushing me on to do more and more. So hopefully I shall catch you all in the next one.